Thank you to all my channel members, including my fan appreciation level members and my contributor level members, for helping support the YouTube channel. Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my book review of the book Shigidi and the Brass Head of Obalufon. I assume I'm pronouncing that right. Obalufon, however you pronounce that. Shigidi and the Brass Head of Obalufon. I picked this book up because some of my writer friends recommended it to me. I'm not going to specify whom, but I had some writer friends who recommended this book. And also, I saw that the book was from Daw, and I wanted to read more Daw books. And I also picked it up because the book is very different than anything else I read. It's technically fantasy, but it's very African-inspired in its, world building and in the themes and in the character designs, and it's all about gods and demigods and stuff like that that are all kind of originate their ideas from Africa. So the author Wole Talabi, I was going to give him a chance. I decided to branch out to a new type of book, and let me tell you, this is a very different type of book for me. And so I was willing to give it a shot, and it's a really short book. It's 300 pages with pretty decent sized font and spacing, so it's a really quick read. There's not too long of a book, and I was willing to give it a shot. And I am just really sad to say I did not like it at all. And if you are a longtime viewer of my channel, you know that I try to find something that I enjoy in every review. In every book, even the ones I don't like, I try to pinpoint what was the thing I liked about the book. What was the thing that was good about it? And, I try to find something. And I don't have anything good to say about this book. And that really pains me because I wanted to like it, because my friends liked it, because they recommended it, because it's a new genre and I want to read new things. I wanted to like this. But on no level did the book work for me. First of all, on a plot and plot structure level. This book jumps around in a timeline seemingly at random. You kind of understand once you get into it that every other scene is in the present, and then the even number scenes are in the present, the odd number scenes are in the past, basically, that type of thing. And you're jumping at crazy different times in the past, crazy different parts of the world, or if they're even in our world to begin with, because they're gods and stuff. And then which characters you're following, you'll just it depends on who you're following. You kind of jump around, and the basic concept of the book is that you have this nightmare god named Shigidi, who has basically left his god duties in the god company. The god company is kind of like this capitalistic company that is taking advantage of its employees, and he's left that to kind of strike out on his own with Nemoa. I don't know how to pronounce her name. She is this succubus god, and so she uses everything to her advantage to sex people, to suck on their spirits, use them for sexual pleasure, and to basically, discard them and stuff. And she is just she teams up with Shigidi to do this freelance job for another god who wants them to go steal the Brass Head of Obalufon, and some other stuff. But so they're sent to London to go do that. And first of all, it's a bizarre plot, but I was like, you know what? It's a heist, basically. These two gods are going to go heist something. That sounds interesting. The heist itself was not exciting at all. There's a few action moments towards the end of the book, but I was already frustrated with it, and I was like, it's too little, too late. I didn't care. And so there's a little bit of that action. Technically, there's action in the first chapter with that, but I was like, eh. So the plot, the heist plot, just did not work. Then you have the whole background, which was a significant portion of the book, at least half. I think it was more than half because those were longer chapters. Were the explaining how Shigidi first became a god, how he got disillusioned with the gods, how he met Nemoa, how they got together, explaining their torrid relationship, and explaining why they are having to go on this mission. And it's just so weird. It's just so weird, and it's not a strong plot for me. And so many of the chapters, so many of them revolve around Niamoa, or however you pronounce her name, seducing someone and basically forcing them to have sex with her, and then sucking out their spirit or something. And she even basically kind of forces Shigidi as well. And Shigidi multiple times in the book is like, hey, what's going on? Why are you acting like this? And she's like, it's my nature. And he's like, well, I thought you were supposed to be with me. And she's like, yeah, but I'm a succubus. What am I supposed to do? I'm totally going to get demonetized for all these words I'm using that I'm not supposed to use. Anyway, and so it's just, it was so gross. And it's not just gross in that it's just every chapter just about, especially in the first half of the book, just had so much sex in it. But also that there was stuff about bodily fluids and the way that people died and stuff. And I was like, that's just gross. I don't care about that. So the morality of it was just so problematic. And you didn't have that kind of character really who is the moral character to provide a counterbalance. You would think that'd be Shigidi because he's, having problems with stuff Niamoa's doing. But even he has all this crazy bad stuff as part of his job and his past. So yeah, it was such an immoral, such a gross book, such a weird plot book. I didn't really particularly like any of the characters, really. There's also kind of this sidekick that joins up, but he's also a messed up guy who joins their crew and who is connected to Shigidi and to Niamoa, and I didn't like his character at all. And then there's just the writing style. And this now the writing style I will cop might be just a cultural thing, but like this author writes so much of this book assuming you know a lot of the terminology and stuff, and that happens in fantasy novels. To be honest, that I read when I read like epic fantasy, and they're using words like Chamberlain, and they're using words like the weapons and stuff. And to me, that's more of a common thing, and maybe this is just because it is a African inspired mythology and stuff, and so I don't know all of that. But I've read other books. I have read one specific that was very much, the whole book was set in Africa. It was inspired by African history and African society and African mythology even, and I understood what was happening in that book. But I didn't, always understand what was happening here. So that's one problem I had with this, although that one I will cop to being more of a me problem than the book. But just on no level did this book particularly work for me. And it's sad because I wanted it to, and I wanted to be able to talk about what I enjoyed with it. But if I'm being honest, I did not like any of this book. And it was such a bad experience. And someone I was talking with online was like, well, why'd you finish it? Why'd you subject yourself to it? Well, a couple of reasons. One, it's not that long a book. It's not too hard to finish. Two, there's got to be something good at the end, right? I mean, there's got to be something good at the end. And no, there really, really wasn't. It didn't feel, even if I cop to understanding the morality and cop to the societal differences from just a payoff perspective, I just didn't particularly like the payoff that is presented at the end of this book. So, yeah, I just didn't like this book at all. And I might shock some people by saying this. I'm going to give this a 1 out of 10. Not a 2 or a 3, which is still really low and bad. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10. And, the author, maybe he has other books that would work for me, but it's not this one. I do not in any way recommend it. And for comparison's sake, the last 1 out of 10 I gave was 2.5 years ago. Now that I think about it, it was 2.5 years. I'm recording this in January of 2025. The last one I did was in July of 2023. So, 2022. So it is 2.5 years ago. July of 2022 was the last 1 star, 1 out of 10 that I gave. So, yeah. I didn't like this book at all. So if you've read Shigidi and the Brass Head of Obalufon, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked it, good for you. I would be interested to see what you liked about it. But nope, none of it worked for me. But until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.